Hi, everyone. Welcome back to The Danny Show. Today, I have a very special guest. His name is Amit Mann. He began his broadcasting journey as an associate producer for CBC Television in 2011, where he worked closely with editors, producers, and executive producers to deliver high impact content. He managed to craft teases, bumpers, musicals, and features across various sports such as hockey, amateur sports, track and field, horse racing, soccer, and tennis. Also, he conceptualized and executed the Meet the Canadians feature series, spotlighting Canada's medal hopefuls for the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympics. For CBC, he efficiently managed edit suite production schedules, handled script writing for both features and live broadcasts, and coordinated feeds, highlights, and production shots under demanding deadlines. After that, Ahmed began his new role in this industry as a video producer for Rogers Sportsnet in 2014, where he was a part of the NHL unit for the company. He produced digital content and field shoots. This included pitching and executing story ideas, creating various video content for Sportsnet.ca, gathering footage, and script writing. Also, he managed logistics for field productions, conducted camera work, and coordinated audio and lighting for shoots across the GTA. Additionally, Ahmed conducted off-camera interviews and acted as a producer for My Replay and Snappy TV during selected NHL games. After his stint on Sportsnet, he became the senior content producer for Yahoo Sports in 2017, came back to Sportsnet this year, and is now the host and producer for the Raptors show at Sportsnet 590 The Fan. He has obtained a degree in broadcasting television from Algonquin College of Applied Arts and Technology, and now Mr. Amit Mann joins me live. How are you doing, Amit?
Good man. It seems like you have found my resume.
Yeah, yeah,
Goodness.
yeah. So thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me. Appreciate
No,
it.
no problem, man. So I wanted to know what inspired you to pursue a career in sports journalism.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's probably similar to why anyone did is that you have a love for sports and you're not good enough to be a professional athlete. So you start thinking, talking, and writing about sports.
Right.
Um, Early on, I did some drama in high school, and I just felt like it got a little bit too phony for me. I mean, it's
Hmm.
not for everyone, right?
Right.
It got kind of out of my taste, and then from there, I just started thinking about broadcasting and sports and what I enjoy to do, and so from there, that kind of launched things. And then, as you mentioned, Algonquin. You go from there, it's broadcasting television, and then I was able to find the sports journalism program, which has done great things over time, right? And
Right.
but I got into it at its early days. I think we were like year one or two in my class, but um it was very new at that point. But now there's several sports journalism programs within the GTA within Ontario, which is great to see. So that's kind of like the Coles notes of it is yeah, there was a passion and then you just sort of pursue it from there.
Amazing, man. So now that that's how it become your passion, of course, can you share a memorable moment involving the game, specifically with the Raptors, that really stuck out to you?
I mean, it would be being around the team for the 2019 run. I was lucky enough to be on the road for the entire run. Like I was in Orlando, I was in Milwaukee, Philly, Oakland, and that was pretty special. I didn't really appreciate it as much as I probably should have until it was all over and you look back on what you've done, and that was a memorable experience, just like being around the team, and you get a better understanding of how much of a grind, winning a championship is because I'm not even a player, but it felt like a grind for me. So imagine these guys that are actually guys and girls that are actually going through an entire playoff run and they're traveling and all the wave of emotions. And that was a pretty cool experience. So I gotta probably say that. And also, I'm going to Pyeongchang for the 2018 Olympics. I
Okay.
believe it was 2018. Yeah, that was another one too. It's self-explanatory in a way that Olympic coverage, it's so unique, it's so different from all other sports.
Hmm.
And it's such a moment within sports when there is Olympics similar to a FIFA World Cup and being around that and understanding how it goes and also just being in a different country, which is
For sure.
so much more advanced than we are. Yeah, that was pretty cool too.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with you. I think the journalism route for everyone kind of takes them unexpectedly to places they didn't even know. existed and didn't even know like they could even go to that place and actually
Sure.
do journalism in that country. That's so cool. You went to Pyeongchang for the Olympics. That's so cool.
Yeah, that was a really cool experience. One of the probably the most unique ones I've had in my career to date.
That's amazing. So, since you've been in this industry for quite some time now, I wanted to know which place in this industry did you learn the most valuable skills from?
I mean, it would probably be Yahoo because when I got to Yahoo Sports Canada, the industry was in kind of a weird position where it was growing, but no one really understood how and where it was going to go. And then also then social media became it really started to boom, and all of a sudden there's so many more platforms. There's Twitter, there's YouTube, there's Instagram, there's yada yada yada. There's so many, and so from there I was able to kind of get my hands on a lot of different parts of what makes sports media,
Right.
and from there that helped me, just gain so many skills, and it's that versatility has been a huge factor in where I am now.
No, that's great to hear, man. And I also wanted to know, what challenges have you faced in your career as a journalist?
Challenges, yeah. I mean, probably no different than anyone who's coming out of college, anyone who's been in this very competitive industry, is you start questioning yourself.
Hmm.
Right? You question
Right.
your abilities, you question your direction, you question if you're making the right decisions. Everyone has a moment where either you're signing on the dotted line or you're saying no to something, and it's it's like a bet on yourself. Shout out Fred Van Vliet, whatever it is. Like you have a moment where you're making a decision and you're just not really sure if it's the right one, but you're doing it because
Hmm.
you're going with your gut. So a
Right.
few of those have happened over time. And thankfully, a lot of the things have worked out, so I can't really mention one, but it's doubting yourself, doubting your, and actually it's really comparable to any industry. I'm sure. Like I've been in sports media or at least broadcast media, and everyone questions themselves. But I think it's any industry. When you're coming out of college or you're coming out of university, you're going to question yourself. You're going to question if you're going to be able to make it. It's a really scary position to be in as, someone who's 18, 19, 20, 21, right? And you're going into the real world, as they call it. It's
Yep.
hard. It's tough. And you learn a lot of these things through experience. But those are definitely valuable experiences that I've had. And wouldn't change a thing, I don't think. Maybe if I thought about it more, maybe there would be some things that would change, but I've been very fortunate over time. So all good.
That's great to
All
hear.
good.
That's great to hear, and I can attest to that as well. Starting out, I did question myself a lot as a creator, but you just go down the line, and you look back and you say like, what can I work on, and how can I make things better? So that's one thing I've noticed in my work. So
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. And embrace the challenges and have a goal and stick to it. That's important too, right? There's always reasons, especially now. I'm keep on referring to, these days because I don't want to sound like the old man from the porch, but it is very different, right, than it used to
Right.
be. And
Right.
there's a variety of ways in which you can question your abilities yourself, comparing yourself to others, and you just have to stick to the grind and keep on
Exactly.
focusing on improving each day and whatever you want to do. I think that's really important.
Most definitely. I totally agree with you. I wanted to know, Ahmed, how do you see the future of sports journalism shaping out? I mean, content creation has, taken over our lives basically. How do you see the
Mhm.
digital like stream of media being, the new norm of journalism nowadays?
And your guess is as good as mine. Okay. I think everyone's trying to figure that out. I think, since I got in the industry, I think we've seen with the social media boom that I mentioned earlier on. I
Right,
think a lot of brands they were on a hiring frenzy, and they were hiring someone for Snappy and for Snapchat and for IG and for Twitter and yada yada yada. And then it got to a point where companies probably want to save a dollar, which everyone wants to do in every industry. That's how it goes.
right,
You can
right.
save some money, you're going to save some money. And so they started to consolidate all these social positions into one. And then they started doing it a little bit further with video production, with managing editors. Like the case goes on and on. And the consolidation has eliminated a lot of jobs within the industry. And I think that's really unfortunate. And we're also seeing, brands shut down here and there. And why that's happening, that's that's beyond me. I have guesses, but I'd just be speculating.
Hmm.
So those have been pretty surprising to see how that's gone. And with that in mind, I think, I mean, it's kind of it's a hard thing to put into a small amount of words, but to summarize it. But like you have to be able to be versatile in whatever you're doing, right? It
Exactly.
can't just be one thing. It can't be two things, three things, and that now is going to be a reason why maybe you get a job over somebody else. And I hate to put it that way, but that is the reality of the market, right? And when
Exactly.
you apply for a job, you are competing against several other people who want that position just like you. What's going to be the separator, right? And that's how you have to view things. And sometimes it could be very small things. Sometimes it could be something that takes you hours upon hours upon hours to learn, to understand. And that could be the thing that pays off for you. But now, unless if you're going to be, if you want to be at a brand, at a sports media brand, or really any brand, you're gonna have to be versatile. You're gonna have to have like three or four different skills. Or if you want to go independent, then that's a whole nother case. I haven't done too much of that, but yeah, even more so with the versatility is gonna be more important in a case like that, depending on how you want to be independent. There's a lot
No.
of different ways to do it.
Oh, well said, man. Well said. I agree with you. Now segueing to our main focus of the interview. I know our primary focus was journalism. Now we're going to the next focus, which is the Toronto Raptors. How do you make of the Toronto Raptors season so like review? How do we understand them moving forward into the off season?
Yeah, I think we have an understanding of what they're going to be. I just
Mm.
wish they got there sooner because
Right.
it felt like they took a long time to understand and to get to where they wanted to ultimately go. But I feel like they knew that what the finish line was going to be, but it just took them like a long time to get there. But anyways, I think now as a team they've made some huge trades this season with Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby, both players currently in the playoffs, doing good in some cases, others, not so much. I'm not sure when this is going to come out, but OG's injured. Pascal's
Right.
coming off a pretty game
All right.
against
Great.
the Knicks. But aside from that, you make those trades, and also Fred VanVleet not coming back to the franchise. Those three players right there, that was going to be the foundation of what they were going to be going forward after they won their championship. And Serge, Mark, Kyle Lowry, they're all gone. So this was going to be their new core. And now that that's all gone, like they really have shifted the franchise into a different position, and that is like at the focus of it is Scotty Barnes. And they have IQ, who I believe is going to be coming back to the team after he resigns, and they have RJ Barrett, they have Jakob Pertl, their
Mhm.
franchise center, as they believe that he is. That's again another topic for another day. But anyways, right, that's what you got. You have Grady Dick, and I
Great.
think it was a tremendous selection that they made at that time. There was a bit polarizing at the point when they made it, and also how he played early on. But I think, especially after talking to him in Vegas or in Summer League, I had a lot of belief in what he was going to become. And fortunate for him, after some ups and downs, like he definitely showed what he's capable of in his
Yeah.
rookie season. And I'm excited for what his future looks like. But yeah, I think now they're at a point where they're trying to complement the new core that they have, and some of that is going to be more help at the center position. Some of that's going to be probably some wing help, probably some a backup point guard. Those are some examples that they probably have to address. And they have
Sure.
the draft coming up, draft lottery more specifically is going to coming up before that, where they're going to be able to decide, find out if they're going to be able to keep their top six pick. That's like the next thing. We're kind of in a lull for Raptors news outside of a TikTok from Scotty where he had Grady and IQ in there too. That's all we
Right.
got these days. But once that happens, then we're gonna have a better understanding of what the Raptors are going to look like at the draft, and then after that, it's free agency, and so we're getting there. We're going to get more news about the team soon, but right now
Exactly.
they're building once again towards their new core.
Exactly. I agree with you. It kind of ties into my next two questions, which is like,
Sure.
what off-season moves do we have for the Raptors? That's my first one. And the second one is with the draft picks, do you think they're going to keep them come draft night, or they're going to trade them for something? So I wanted your perspective on
Yeah.
it.
I think they will probably draft players. I mean, like every single year we're told that it's a weak draft. It could have been better. It's not like so and so year, but then there's always players that become all stars at every draft. Like look at Anthony
Right.
Edwards. Right? There's always players, and it's the Raptors' job to find those players, and that's why they have their scouting department. And some of the unfortunate luck that they've had at the center position with Christian Koloko and then Jonte Porter. Not players that are going to be like your starting center or anything like that, but they could have been like capable backup centers, and then you keep on building them and you see where it goes. But I think the center position with Jakob and Kelly, I think they could use, a reliable third big that they can groom. And also, yeah, they could probably use some help at the wing position and whatever. Like, I mean, however you want to define a wing, like it could be a 6'4" player, it could be a 6'7", 6'8". Like the NBA
Right.
is kind of it's changing all the time. It depends on the other pieces that you have around you.
Mhm.
And like that's another case where they got to find something. They could use some guard help. Like because of the building factor with this, they could
Mhm.
use the help in a lot of different places. And so we're
Exactly.
probably in a best player available position if they're able to
Mhm.
keep their top six pick. And after that, they got the Indy pick and they got the Pistons pick. So it could be a busy draft for the Raptors, and they have to use those draft picks wisely.
Mhm. For sure.
And yeah, there's also free agency. They got some money that they can spend if they would like.
Hmm.
So factor that into get some veterans, get some players that can be actually in your rotation next season who can help the younger players on your team. I think that would be good too. Like they're in a fun position where there's so many possibilities, but it's also you could look at it precarious. It
Right.
could be precarious
Exactly.
position. Like you need the front office has to do the work now. This is where they make their money.
For sure. For sure. Kind of going back to my next question, which was like the offseason moves. Is there like a specific player you want the Raptors to pursue, or is it just like whoever's available in the market, let's go get this guy?
Oh, I haven't really gone that far into it yet.
Like
Like I'm taking this.
I really
Yep.
want them
Yeah,
to get
tell
like
me.
Malik Monk.
Well, yes, yes, yes,
That would
yes,
be a great
yes.
that would be a great player for them to get.
I feel like I spend every single offseason hoping that they get certain players, but then they get like, well, not them. Okay.
Right, right.
So you ask the question, I'm like, yeah, I got things that they would want. I want things. Sure, I want Malik
Right.
Monk. That would be amazing. He'd be a terrific player. Sign him to a 4-year
Exactly.
contract. Sign it. Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. But I don't think they're ever going to make that move. And maybe, hey,
Right.
prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, and bring Malik Monk here. I just don't see them doing it. But
Right.
uh,
Yeah.
in terms of other players, like I can bring it up now while we're talking about
Sure. Yeah,
players
go.
that could be interesting for the Toronto Raptors. I'll just bring up the free agent list. And
Mhm.
now the Raptors, like they haven't had that much success in the free agent market. When we start talking about players like Damari Carroll,
I
Hito
think with the
Turkoglu, like
Damari Carroll one, I think that one, people had high hopes for him because he played so well in Atlanta, and then
yeah,
we thought we were gonna get that Atlanta Damari Carroll, and they came here and he became deflated Damari Carroll. It didn't work out.
Yeah, yeah. He had some again, he had some injuries as well, I believe, when
Yeah.
he came to Toronto. But also you had to keep that in mind when you're bringing in a player. That wasn't new news with the pick. I remember I was at a cottage when that happened on July 1st or 2nd or something like that. And I was like,
Right.
oh, okay. So you got this guy has an injury history. He's got some knee problems.
Right.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Let's
I feel like
let's
he
see how it
was
goes.
that.
And then clearly,
I feel like he was that one player for the Raptors. Like he comes onto the court and makes 1 3, everyone gets excited for, and then he leaves the
because
game.
we wanted it to happen. We really,
Right,
really wanted
right,
it to happen.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I've struggled with who the fifth starter should be on the Raptors,
Sure,
and by default you could say Grady Dick, which
sure.
they could do, but personally,
They could
I
do.
I, I would like to see him come off the bench again. But who knows, man? He might have an unbelievable offseason, like a Jalen
Yeah,
Williams-esque kind of
yeah.
offseason, and who knows, right?
Hmm.
But with that, who's going to be the fifth starter? Should it be more of a shooting guard? Should it be more of a small forward? What's the height of this person? What are we
I
hoping that
think
their skills would be?
we desperately for me, sorry to cut you off, but
Yep.
just three
All good.
uh positions to really look for is backup
Yep.
point guard, like you said, a
Hmm.
shooting guard and Malik Monk. If we can get them, that would be awesome. And we definitely need a center because this team is lacking in centers. I mean,
Yeah.
Pirtle is a great center, like you said, they're focusing their attention to him as being like the franchise center. But if he's injured, we don't have any backup center.
No, it's
It's
not good. Yep.
it's not
Yep.
good, right? Because Boucher is acting as our center, but he's a power forward. He's not a center.
Is he going to be back?
Is he even going to be back? That's the question, right? All these question marks. Is
Yeah.
Gary going to come back? Is Chris going to come back? A lot
Yeah.
of question marks on this group, you know.
Sure. Yeah, like looking at the center free agent market, it's not great, Bob. JV, you want him back?
I would
That could
love to
be
have JV back
right.
because he was our best center.
He will be $50 million because that's what he makes every single season. Rashawn Holmes is a free agent. James Wiseman, he's an RFA though. Yeah, so the market, Nick Claxton, but he's not going
I
anywhere.
would
There's no way.
say, yeah, Nick Claxton has been a Raptors target though. They've been actively wanting
Isaiah
him.
Hartenstein, he's a UFA, but
Mhm.
again, the Knicks aren't going to let him go.
No, the Knicks are definitely going to sign him after the Knicks, have gone to so much success in the playoffs right now with them.
I
So
love Isaiah Hartenstein, man. He's great.
he's a great center. He's a great
Yeah,
center.
he's terrific.
He's really proved himself to the league.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of the center market. And then aside from that, I
I
mean,
would have
Royce O'Neal came to mind for me as like a stay-at-home
okay,
3 and
not
D
bad.
player.
Not
But
bad.
then if you make a decision like that, then you are truly investing in Scotty IQ and RJ being
Right.
like your three scorers in your starting lineup. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's good enough, but maybe that's okay too because we're still
Mhm.
building, right?
Exactly.
There's a
Let's
few
see
different
how
ways to
that
look at it.
pans out. Let's see how that pans
Sure.
because we tried it with Lowry and DeRozan for so many years, right?
Yeah.
Make it
Yeah.
to the finals, and then blockbuster trade, we get Kawhi and we want Chip. But I think with this group,
Those were the
promising group.
days. Yep.
Quickly is an amazing point guard. How we made one starter from OG into two, that's
Hmm.
beautiful. I mean, respect to, OG and all, he did great things for us in the city. But it was time to move on, I think, from OG and the Pascal and Fred scenario kind of in Toronto. I think it wasn't really working out. And it was about time we would, have something more directed towards Scotty, have him like compliment him, and let
Yeah, I
him
mean
be the franchise.
that's why they had to do it, right? Is that you could
Exactly.
tell, if you look at how things panned out, in what the 2022-23 season, very disappointing season for the franchise after
Right.
the previous year where they, were a 4 or 5 seed and there were reports, however you want to look at it, but it just felt like there was unrest between like it felt like there was a bit of a fractured locker room. That might be a strong word, but there was like your old regime and then there's your new players coming up.
Right.
And they had to address that. I don't think there's like, any contention between the players necessarily.
Hmm.
I just think it's more like as you said, there was a natural separating that was happening,
Hmm.
and the Raptors tried to contain it and tried to keep on, vibing off of their 2022 or 2021-22 season, and that didn't
Exactly.
work out. And so they had to make these like seismic changes with their franchise, and it had to happen. It had to happen. Um, I still get a little, a little mad about the return for Pascal Siakam because I'm just like, I'm seeing all these guys like Ben Shepherd, Neesmith, go
I
down the
know we got
list,
a terrible
Nembhard.
return. We got a
Yeah,
terrible.
I mean, the cap space is going to be helpful once they
Yeah,
decide on what they're going to do with Bruce Brown, who like technically is their backup point guard right now, technically.
technically, and he
But
does
I
really
don't
like
see it happening.
Toronto.
Huh?
And he does really like Toronto. Like,
Yeah, he misses
yeah,
Tim Hortons. I mean, I'm a Tim
yeah,
Hortons
exactly.
fan too. I get it, but ultimately, that money could be used in a lot of different ways. As Bobby
Sure.
Webster himself said, interesting contract.
Right.
A lot of things you can do with a contract like that.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
So moving along, wanted to know what are your NBA playoff predictions for this year? Who's going to win the chip? Who's going to go into the conference finals, you think? Or who's going to make it to the
oh
finals?
man, I mean, it looks like the Timberwolves are about to, steamroll through
Timberwolves
everybody.
are deadly. Are
Yeah,
deadly.
they look pretty scary right now.
Yeah, they
I don't want
are
to get too ahead of myself with, game three is around the corner.
for sure.
The Denver Nuggets are the defending champions, but
Exactly.
I came into the series feeling like if Jamal Murray isn't showing that he's like a little bit healthy or that he's able to get to 75-80%, then they're going to be cooked
Exactly.
because
For sure.
while the Denver Nuggets, they may be like the perfect starting lineup in terms of complementing each other. If Jokic or Murray, they fall, then that's like a huge domino. They don't have a lot of playmakers in that starting lineup. They have play finishers, right? In different ways, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., KCP, but the playmakers are Jokic at a supremely high level, and also Jamal Murray, and he's not right. Their bench is where it probably needs to be to contend with the team like the Wolves. I wonder if we're gonna see a lot more Peyton Watson in game three. That's
Right.
something that I've thought about too. And also I figured that maybe they just might abandon kind of their how they decide to get their buckets on offense, their philosophy, and they start just pivoting towards, a lot of empty side, Nikola Jokic, to slow the game down a little bit and to kind of separate the Timberwolves defense to make them have to make some hard decisions. And you're just banking on, Jokic going off for like 40, 50, 4 times in a series to be able to beat them. But anyways, I don't think it's going to happen. I think that the Wolves are going to win that, and they're probably the favorite right now. Conference finals wise, I think the Knicks are going to
OKC.
be there. The Knicks are going to be there. I think the Celtics are obviously going to be there. I do think we're going to find out pretty soon here if OKC can take a 2-0 series lead against the Mavericks.
Sure.
Again, Luka doesn't feel like he's moving very well, but he's also Luka. He has a game where he's like 29, 9 and 6 on like 6 of 20 shooting. Then the next game it's 45, 20 and 10 with like on 16 of 24 shooting. Like he's
Right.
that talented, and it's kind of it's they live and die by him, and in a good way. And also you're they're banking on him being able to do that 4 times in a series, because once he does that, usually they're in good shape. But I
Right.
still think I'm going to take OKC. I thought they were pretty good in game one.
Yep.
So
Yep.
from there, Timberwolves, OKC, conference finals. I think the Timberwolves get there, and then Celtics, Timberwolves in the NBA finals. I do think that the Wolves would win that one, but I actually think that the Celtics could be like their toughest test because of how many ways
Right.
in which they can attack them. Like you can't just
Exactly.
isolate on Jokic, right? There isn't like a player like that. They have Jason Tatum, they have Jalen Brown, they have Drew Holiday, they have Derek White, Chris Porzingis. I'm assuming he's going to be healthy for this series. He probably
Right.
should be back, although right now I believe he's probably going to sit, the second round because
Right.
they can probably get through it without him.
Hmm.
But these are all things they got to figure out. There's a lot of offensive weapons, but then I still think that defense wins championships. So at the moment, as we speak, at Thursday, May 9 at 9:30, I would say the Timberwolves are probably the favorite, but a lot can change.
Exactly. A lot can change. And like I can go off what you said and say like I really do think the Timberwolves and the Boston Celtics, respect to the other teams,
Yep.
they're the best teams from each conference to go and meet each other in the finals as of right now. Like you said, May
Mm,
9th, 9:30 to go into the finals. The Timberwolves overall are a really, really stacked team. They
yep.
have gotten so much better, and
They
so
got the
many of
best
their
top seven in
players,
the
so
NBA.
many of their players have blossomed for them. I mean, Nas Reed
Yep.
came out of nowhere and surprised us. Alexander Walker has been stellar on defense, and
Yep.
like in Boston, I mean, Derek White was the backup point guard for like the San Antonio Spurs, and he didn't even play that
Mm,
much. And now he hit 7 threes against the Cavs. Are you kidding me? To take game one?
yeah.
That's insane. So a lot of good, players on both sides, respectively, and respect to the other teams who are in the playoffs right now. But yeah, the Timberwolves and Celtics, I agree, man.
Yeah. As we talk about this, the Cavaliers stomped the Celtics 118-94.
Wow.
But I mean, again, I said that the Celtics would get there because they're the best team in the East, but there's a
Right.
big discrepancy between the talent and overall execution between the two conferences right now.
Exactly.
So I would take the Celtics to lose against like OKC, Timberwolves, Nuggets, whoever it is.
Right.
I would take the Western Conference team.
Yeah,
But anyways, yeah,
for sure. So moving along to my last question. Thanks
sure.
for coming on the show, but last question.
No
Uh
question, man. Thank you for having me.
no problem. So any advice you have for aspiring broadcasters like myself or any content creators who want to get into the sports media and journalism industry?
Mhm. Stick to the grind.
Sticks
Keep
to
on grinding, keep on getting better, keep on working on your craft and whatever you want to do.
Mhm.
Every single day could be a wasted day. Keep on getting better every day. Don't take it for granted. This is a great time for a lot of young journalists in which, you're able to create content on your own, right? You can start a
Exactly.
YouTube channel, you can post things on IG, you can make a TikTok account, you can do all this stuff, and whether it goes good or bad or whatever, live with the results, but keep on improving yourself. And
So
that's going to be the key. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, it's going to be like the best of the best, probably. Usually, they come to the top in whatever capacity, and it may not always be the easiest path, but I think usually that's how it goes. The job market right now, I mean, it's it is what it is. I'll put it
right,
that way.
right.
But it's not going to change anytime soon. So you have to commit yourself to being one of the best of the best in terms of candidates for whatever job that you're applying for. That's really
Exactly.
important. And don't worry about the naysayers, you want to call it that, the naysayers, or
Sure.
or don't worry about the progress of other people and the jobs that they're getting. Be happy for the growth of other people. Be happy for them, succeeding, and also, you know, and uh, show the ambition that you want every single day to get better, and then, hopefully, the time will tell, and you'll be able to find yourself a position and the career job whatever that you're looking for. I mean, it is a grind. Like, it was a grind when, even for myself, when I got in the industry, but it was a different kind of grind. So you just have to keep on grinding, and yeah, just keep on working hard. It's a bit of a cliched thing, but I mean, I've always found that with NBA players too, NBA, WNBA players, everyone's looking for the secret sauce. There is no secret sauce. It's just hard work.
Exactly. No, it
Oh, it
is.
is.
It is for sure.
Right.
Sure.
So
Yeah, well said, man. Great advice. Ahmed Man, you can follow him on his Instagram and t Twitter. I'll put all his social handles in the description down below if you want to connect with him. Ahmed Man, Ahmed, thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
thank you for having me, man.
No
Appreciate it.
problem. Have a great day, man.
You too.